In this section, we're going to be talking about annuities, which are very different than what we did in the last unit. So in the last unit, we looked at these kind of lump sum loans or lump sum, savings accounts or something like that, where we just put some certain amount into an account, or we loan or we borrow some certain amount, and then we either repay it or we take that money out of the savings account all at once, X amount of years in the future. That's not how people usually do their loans and investments. On loans, they usually make like regular monthly payments. And as we invest into our retirement accounts, it tends to be like, some chunk out of your paycheck each month or something like that. So we're going to be looking at that, right? So this is going to be how mortgages work, car loans work, how most people's retirement accounts work. So this will be a very practical, hopefully useful section for you in terms of moving forward with your own financial goals. So just making sure we're all on the same page with this wording. This is going to be about regular payments. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Either regular payments on loans or regular deposits into savings. So we're going to be assuming that we're going to be making equal regular payments or deposits. Now, this is actually usually how car loans and mortgages are, right? It's not like when you get a home loan, you're going to be paying the same amount in your first year as your 10th year, right? So that would mean equal payments. That won't necessarily be true with your retirement account, but it's a fair enough thing to start with here. Regular, right? So when I say that these annuities we're going to be working with have equal and regular payments, the equal part means they're always the same amount. The regular part means it's on some set period. It's not like, some months I put in $100 and other months I put in $200. That would mess up the equal part. The regular payments would mean like I don't skip any months, or I go 6 months and then I put in 1,000, and then 3 months I put in another 1,000, another month I put in 1,000. Like, nope, they're always set amounts. And again, that's how car payments and mortgages always are, right? We have this certain amount that we pay, and it's every month we make that payment. It's only where we look at retirement accounts that we might fudge that a tiny bit. I would say the regular part is pretty standard, right? Each month it would get taken out of your paycheck, but your the equal amounts may or may not be exactly right, but as long as they're fairly close to each other, we'll be pretty close to where we need to be. So that's what the equal and regular part means for these annuities that we're going to be looking at. And one other thing that I should talk about before we get into these sections is rounding. Okay, so once I actually start showing you these formulas, you'll see that they're just a bit more complicated, a bit more stuff in them than we had before when it was just one lump sum that we were putting into an account. Which means, right, for each additional little piece that you have in your formula, rounding errors get just magnified and magnified and magnified. So if we're doing a bunch of intermediate rounding, we may be so off at the end that even though we did everything right, it may come out to show everything wrong. So I admit that it's tedious to write down, all 10 digits of what your calculator is showing you for your intermediate calculations. But I strongly suggest doing that because there's very little in math, I think, that's more frustrating than doing everything right and having the automated system say that you're wrong, and so you try some other method and 10 other methods when you were right the very first time. It was just that you rounded too much, right? Very frustrating. So I just don't want that to happen to you. Please just use all the decimal places as you're doing your intermediate calculations, and you should be fine in this section.